Well, welcome everybody. I want to ask you a question. Does your office look like this? Mine does. My name is Floyd Holdman, and I am a distributor for Merinda Bioactives. And I'm going to share with you tonight what an incredible company that we have and the great things that this company does for the people involved with it. So, do you spend your time like this, trying to get to work with the cement jungle? Which do you prefer? Would you rather have the cement jungle on the left there, or would you rather have this that's on the right? You see, Merinda can give you that opportunity, the same as it has done for me. I work out of my home, and when I'm not working out of my home, I travel the world. All thanks to Merinda Bioactives. You see here our international headquarters in Provo, Utah. And I want to ask you a question. Would you like to see the world and have somebody else pay for it? Merinda Bioactives will give you that chance. See, not only do you make an incredible income with Merinda, but you have a chance to travel and see the world at Merinda's expense. And I'm going to share just a little bit of what's happened to me and my wife, Ann. Since we have been in Merinda in the last 16 years, just to name a few, we have traveled to Paris at the company's expense. We've been to Mexico more than once at the company's expense. We've been to Hong Kong. We've been to Hawaii more than once, more than I can count on one hand. In fact, we're going back there this coming April for the International Leaderships Conference, and our way is already paid. We've already qualified to have our room and all of our airfare paid. We've been to Japan. We've been to Switzerland 3 times. We've been to Thailand. And we've been to Disneyland and Disney World. In Disney World and Disneyland, they actually rented one of the parks out for the whole evening for Merinda distributors exclusively. All the rides were free, including all of the food. How many companies do that, folks? Ann and I have traveled to Australia and New Zealand. We've traveled to the UK and London and other places in the UK. We have traveled to Moscow and other parts of Russia more than once. We've traveled to Singapore, and we've traveled to our International Leadership Conference in New York City. Here again, remember, all these things have been paid for by the company, not by me. We've been to Monte Carlo. I know many of you on this line were there also. What an incredible experience that was. We've been to the Bahamas twice, all expenses paid. We've been to Tahiti more than once. And in fact, you know that Merinda has sent over 4,000 people to Tahiti to date. And every year they're sending more. All you have to do is qualify to reach a certain level in our company, and you go to Tahiti. What a great vacation. I mean, I love the country of Tahiti. I had been there several times before Merinda, and it was one of my favorite places on earth. And to be able to go back and to go first class, that was an incredible experience. And any of you can qualify yourselves to do this. In 2011, my wife and I qualified for the Presidents Club, where we went to Zambia and South Africa. This is a picture of the 10 distributorships from around the world that qualified to get on the train ride that we went on to have dinner. Wow, it's just like being on the Orient Express. It was a narrow gauge railroad. What a great time that was. And then in South Africa, we went on an African safari, which has been one of my dreams for over 30 years, was to be able to go to Africa and as a professional photographer use my equipment and get some incredible animal shots. And I was able to do that. These are just a few of my shots of the lions, the elephant, the zebras, and many, many more that I don't have really time to show you tonight. And to top all of that off, I was on an ultralight aircraft and flew over Victoria Falls, the largest falls on earth. Now let me tell you, that was quite an experience to sit there with only a little seat belt on you and just open yourself to the elements. But what an incredible trip that was, thanks to Merinda. This summer, this year, we were able to go to Rome for our vision retreat and see the Vatican and many of the other great sites there, and also Florence, paid for by Merinda. And also this summer, I was able to reach another one of my life dreams on my bucket list, and that was to go to Peru, on my second trip to Peru now, and actually be able to climb Machu Picchu and drink our Max product at the top of it. I tell you, it doesn't get any better than this. Paid for by Merinda. And cruises. You like to cruise? 3 times my wife and I have been on a cruise in Tahiti, to the Marquesas Islands and the other islands in Tahiti. 3 times, folks, with all expenses paid, airfare and everything. And just in 2011, Merinda rented the whole ship of Liberty of the Seas, which was once the largest ship, and at this time when we went on this trip, it was the second largest ship in the world. And the reason we went on that particular ship was that it had the largest capacity for seating for an auditorium of any ship on the sea. So we had our meetings there. My family was able to go. A lot of our organization went. And what a great experience that was, to cruise the Caribbean, have all of my expenses paid, the airfare was paid, the ship was paid for, our rooms were paid for, and it was all paid for by Merinda. So how many companies rent an entire ship, which was the second largest ship in the world, that had over a 3,000 person capacity? These are the kind of things Merinda does for its distributors. Not just its top distributors, but anybody that puts a little effort in can learn and earn these trips. Folks, this is called lifestyle, and that's what you can have in this business. So you can choose to fight that traffic every day, go to the cement jungle, or work out of your home and travel the world by sharing an incredible product, an incredible business with people that you know to change their lives, both health and wealth, and make a living while you're doing it. I can't think of anything in this world I would rather be doing than that. And to go with the lifestyle, as you know, the reason we're having this call tonight, my wife and I have just returned this last month from India, the latest trip that Merinda has sent us on. I call it the Spirit of India. It's the Morinda Presidents Club trip of 2012 that I'm going to share with you tonight. I want to tell you first that for 35 years, I've had a goal to go to India. A couple of times as a professional, I was supposed to go there. At the last minute, it was canceled. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I never, ever thought I'd be going over there first class. But thanks to Merinda, it happened. And now tonight, I'm going to share some of these visuals with you. I can only share a few because I had several thousand photographs, and we aren't going to put you through all of them. But I've taken some of the highlights out to share it with you and see if it can get you as excited as it got me to be there. So let's get started. We flew to New York City, and then from New York City we caught Aeroflot Airlines, that's the Russian airlines, to fly to Moscow. And you know what was great about this? The company flew us first class, folks, first class, all the way to Moscow, and then from Moscow we flew to New Delhi, India, first class. Now when we get to New Delhi, we arrive there at 4 a.m. and we're going to spend the, we get there at 4 a.m. so we're going to have that day and then that next night and then leave the next day for where we're going to go. Because the next day we'll go to Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is. That's about a 3-hour drive. We drove to each place on a special bus that was rented for us, the Merinda's bioactive bus. We went to Jaipur, which I'll be showing you, and then from there we took a 6-hour trip to Udaipur. Now, I love those bus rides because the things that we got to see, some of the regular life, instead of just the 5-star hotels, was absolutely fascinating. And I'm going to show you some of these pictures tonight. So here we are. We arrive at 4 o'clock. We get to our hotel around 5:30 in the morning, the Imperial Hotel. It's a 5-star hotel. It's just an incredible place to stay right in New Delhi. And you can see some of the architecture of the building here and the atrium that's there. And when we get there 5:30 in the morning, there was people greeting us, and we got our first red dot on our forehead, which we got all the time as we went to different places on our trip to India. As they say, represents the third eye in your inner consciousness. And we said a lot, Namaste, because that is the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. That's a typical way of greeting. So we got our dot, and we didn't really get any sleep. We went out then for breakfast in the morning. Now here we have Galina with her partner, and this is for breakfast. Now notice that wall painting? That is an original, folks. All around the rooms in the buildings was original paintings like this. That is not wallpaper. It's just incredible. But we went out to get on our bus, and we're going to spend the day visiting New Delhi and Old Delhi. So we take off, and one of the first intersections we come to, we look at the Parliament building and all the big government buildings. There was this interesting sign, I thought, left turn free. I thought, well, gee, does it cost money to turn right, but you can turn left for free? I thought it was really an interesting sign. I've never seen that before, left turn free. So anyway, that's about the only thing I got free while I was there. Well, I got everything free, but the company had to pay for it. But not if you're making a left turn, you don't pay anything. Well, one of the first places we visited in India and in New Delhi was the home and office of Mahatma Gandhi. This is his office right inside these glass doors where Mahatma Gandhi stayed. This is also just maybe about a couple of 100 feet away from where he was doing audiences for people where he was assassinated. Mahatma Gandhi is really the father of India. He is the one that got them their independence from Great Britain. And so as you go inside those glass partitions there, you go around the other side and you come in there, you see the bed that he slept in and the bedroll that he had. And this was his whole home right here. This was it. And right next to it was his office, as you can see here, where he can write and make his notes and make his daily notes and so on. And he was a great man with great things that he taught. And when he was assassinated, actually now they've got a display that shows all of his worldly remains. This is all that he owned. And yet he affected all of India and gained their freedom from Great Britain and had an impact on the entire world. And these are all of his worldly goods, his personal belongings. The pocket watch that's there, for some reason or another, it stopped the moment he was assassinated. And it hasn't run since. So they know the exact time that he was assassinated. It was 5:25 in the afternoon. And so that was a really emotional and a powerful experience to be there and see what a person can do with thoughts and with action and just his own beliefs and his own testimony of what he knew should be done. The power of thought, folks, is so powerful. And later on you'll see some more of what I mean. Well, we left this and went back out into the streets again. Those are little tuk-tuks. A lot of people do those. Those have little motorcycles with little containers on them to take people around town. And from here we go to the largest mosque in New Delhi. And what's so interesting about this is this, because when I came home, I want to share with you what I saw in Time magazine. This is a photograph in Time magazine that happened in September of the same mosque in Time magazine that we visited. But it wasn't like this. There was just, oh, there might have been 50 people scattered around, but it didn't look like this. But in a minute, I'm going to show you. See that door over on the left, or that entrance on the left over there on the left side? I'm going to show you what it looks like when you look out that door. But for now, we went in the main mosque there. I'll just show you one of the photographs I shot inside. I love the symmetry and the symmetry of the place, and the design is just so beautiful. I just had a field day in India shooting pictures. But if you go out and look out that door I was telling you about, this is what it looks like. total chaos on the outside. But what was exciting about this is because we were fixing to go into that. Because outside the gates was our bicycle rickshaws waiting for us to take us through the bazaar. And so here's our driver, here's Ann and I sitting in our little rickshaw, and away we go into the depths of the bazaar. Now I know why when they say things are strange, they say that's a bizarre thing, because that was a strange place. The rickshaw in front of us is our Russian distributor that was there, one of them, Mark Pomerantz, who also was just recognized as a new Club Marquesas member that won the trip from Russia, and that's his daughter with him. But you notice the motorcycles, and you have rickshaws going both ways, plus people walking. But this is pretty wide right here because it keeps getting narrower and narrower. Our driver looks back to make sure we're still there. So motorcycles, rickshaws, pedestrian traffic, and of course the wiring. Man, can you believe this is where a lot of people send the computer help or the information lines? Well, I tell you, it sure makes me appreciate underground wiring. But we're going through these streets, and it gets narrower and narrower and darker, and we start seeing all the people that have their little shops along there. They're selling their wares, the fabrics. They're selling their foods along the way as we go, and it gets even darker and narrower. Now look at this. You have people there. You have a motorcycle driver in front of us with his helmet on. You have rickshaws going both directions. I just thought we were going to get wiped out, but we never did. It was just absolutely amazing. Now, on my the YouTube, which I'll give you that address later, I have a couple of these, some videos posted on this. I don't have the real thinnest part because it was so dark and I wanted to get some still photos, but you can actually see some of this on video. And the company is putting together a video that there'll be some pretty amazing things you're going to see in video of our trip. And so it even got darker and narrower. Kind of thinned out a little bit right here because we're getting ready to go back out into the main street here. You see the food is even just placed down on the floor, ready to sell right on the street as we're riding past it in our rickshaws. And then we kind of break out into the open a little bit more, and you've got the Muslims, you've got the Hindus, and you've got a few Christians all living together. And as we're nearing the end of our circle, we made a loop, and you can see there's the mosque in front of us, that where we started. Now, you see the chaos and what it's like here? I mean, it's just insane. And yet, we go back to our hotel and look at the difference. It's amazing the difference you see from the average people and those that are pretty well off. But after being through those city streets, I was grateful we were staying in 5-star hotels. Well, we go to bed that night, the only full night we spent there. We get up in the morning, and away we go to hit the traffic, because now we're going to head for Agra. And so we hit the roads, and we get out into the country, and you start seeing the cows crossing the street. The cows own that country, because wherever they go, the people don't bother them. The cow is sacred to them. You'll see them sleeping in the middle of the road, walking down the road, and people just have to learn to drive around them, and it causes quite a few traffic jams. But to the Hindu, the cow is sacred. And most Hindus are vegetarians. They don't eat meat, which was something very interesting I photographed. A McDonald's. And if you look at this McDonald's right here, it's hard to see it on this particular photograph, but there's no hamburgers. They got fries, they got Coca-Cola and soft drinks, they have fish burgers and chicken burgers. And of course chicken McNuggets. But there's no hamburgers in all of India at McDonald's. Now also on the streets we see goats crossing the road that stops the traffic. And this is Galina Nikitina from Russia, who at one of our rest stops made a new friend of a Muslim holy man. How do you like the shirts that we had? It says bioactivist and has a picture of the Taj Mahal on it. So we were making new friends all over the place. And you know what was great? The people loved to have their pictures taken, which was great for me. So we hit Agra, the next city that we get to, and we go up to the Red Fort. The Red Fort was a beautiful place with the architecture that's there. It's just a fantastic place to photograph. And here, the person who built the Taj Mahal was actually imprisoned here on house arrest by his son, who took over the kingdom. And it was after he had built the Taj Mahal. And he was going to build a black one. He built the Taj Mahal for his wife in her death. And he's going to build a black one across the river. In a minute, I'll show you the spot. He's going to build a black one for him, but his son didn't want him spending all that money, so he imprisoned him and took over the kingdom. But you see that spot right there? And this little area is where the father was imprisoned who actually built the Taj Mahal. And the view he would have of the Taj Mahal where his wife was buried was this, through this structure. And that was our first view of the Taj Mahal. But if you put your telephoto through that little thing there, this is what you see. So that was our first view of the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal faces north and south, and it's right on the banks of this river. And I'm going to show you some more things about that in just a moment. Also, before we left that structure, we found some cute little guys, and a guy was giving us food to feed the little chipmunks here. And that was great. This is Jenny, one of our downline, actually from Bolivia, who won the trip for South America, for Latin America. And she was there. And these are pretty friendly little guys. Well, we leave that and we go to our hotel for our first view of the hotel, the Oberoi Amarvilas. Now, you go in there and here's the entry with the water fountains. What an incredible place this is. It's a fairly new structure. It wasn't like a lot of the palaces I'll show you that we stayed in later. But we go in and we check into our room, and this is a view from my balcony. I used a panorama camera, and I was able to shoot this of the swimming pool and some different views of the swimming pool. And unfortunately, Ann and I were never able to use it because our time there was short. We only got there, in the afternoon, and we spent the night there, and the next day we had to leave. Because the main thing that you want to see in Agra is the Taj Mahal, and that's pretty much it, and the Red Fort that we visited. So here's Ann and I on our balcony, and you know what's and you see we got our red dots again. You know what's so exciting about this balcony? This is our room, and this is the view from our room. The Taj Mahal was seen right from our room. We're on the 4th floor. And I was beside myself. My heart was beating so fast I thought I'd have a heart attack. After waiting 35 years to get to India and photograph the Taj Mahal, and there it is. We won't go until the next morning. We were going to go that evening for the sunset, but we found out it was Friday, and it was closed. So we couldn't go there for the evening that we wanted to. But it was so exciting, and I was able to shoot this photograph from my balcony. Wow. So we went in the evening on the other side of the river. Now we're looking south towards the Taj Mahal. The river is between us and the Taj Mahal. Where we are standing is where the Maharaja was going to build another temple exactly like this one, but made out of black marble for himself. But because of being imprisoned by his son, he was never able to do it. And so he was also buried in the Taj Mahal with his wife when he did finally pass away. By the way, the Taj Mahal took over 20 years to build. This is the view right at sunset. I couldn't get the sun in the picture because we're looking south and the sun sets in the west to the right. And so, but boy, what a great experience to stay there and watch the sun set on the Taj Mahal and to be able to get these photographs. But now the sun is setting, and the sun is setting, and it's September the 28th and 29th, because it's the evening of the 28th, it'll be the morning of the 29th. And what's so special about this day? From 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., I was not in my bed. I was on the balcony. This is a photograph Ann took with my iPhone. I was on my balcony. And why was I on my balcony? I told you I'd always wanted to go to India and photograph the Taj Mahal. But there was one other thing that was in my goals that I didn't think I'd be able to do it on this trip because it wasn't planned. But you want to talk about fate and visualization? You know what the 28th and 29th of September was in Asia? It's the night of the full moon. The full moon. And I'm right there in India at the Taj Mahal, and there's a full moon, and I can see the Taj Mahal from my balcony. I just couldn't believe it. I did not go to bed that night. I photographed all night long because it took long exposures. You couldn't even see it real well to be able to focus it, so you had to keep working. It'd take like a half an hour to get one shot. But I want to show you what I saw sitting on my balcony that night on September the 28th and 29th, 2012. This is a Taj Mahal lit by only the full moon. This is what it looks like. I have never seen a photograph like this anywhere else in the world. And I'm so excited that I was able to do this. And I was able to do it because of Merinda. It was so exciting. But I got several different types of shots, but this is one of my favorite, and this is one that will be going on my wall. Here's another shot. Just a little bit different kind of an exposure, and a little bit more of the light hitting it from the surrounding lights in the city. And you can see the towers from each side. But let me tell you, folks, it gets better. Because in just a moment, I'm going to show you what it's like. See, all the city lights were turned off. They went off at 1 o'clock in the morning. But then before sunrise, the lights came back on. And with all the haze in the sky and the early sun starting to come up and the moon hitting the Taj Mahal, this is what it looked like. Now you know why I was up all night with my camera. And there's a combination of the moon hitting it, the city lights, and the early sunrise. And to go in close, this is the photograph that I have, which once was just a full moon, but now we have the city lights and the sunrise hitting it with the combination of the full moon, and all of that together creates an unbelievable, exciting photograph. Well, I didn't go to bed that night. And when it was time for breakfast, because, see, we had an appointment at 5:30 in the morning to get on our transportation and be at the Taj Mahal for when it opens at 6 a.m. Well, when we went out there, what did we see? The rickshaws. And they're there waiting for us to take us over to the Taj Mahal. Instead of by bus, we're going by rickshaw. And look at this. They all had Merinda bioactive T-shirts on. So we got on the rickshaws, we went over there, stood in line, and at 6 o'clock it opened, and we went in. We were about the first, probably 60 people to get in, but it fills up fast. And so this is the south gate into the Taj Mahal. It's a huge complex. And there's the outside, there's the inner part, and then the inner part. And so we go through this gate, and this is what we saw as we went in and got out of the way of most of the tourists. Again, it's one of my most favorite shots I've ever done, because I waited 35 years to get this picture and the full moon. And you can see the reflection in the pool there. This is about halfway in towards the Taj Mahal, the reflection pool, because there's a platform right behind me, and it kind of blocks off how you can see the reflection pools. But isn't that beautiful? It took that person over 20 years to build the Taj Mahal, and it was made for his wife in her death. And the Taj Mahal is made out of white marble. And you can see from here and some other close-ups, just incredible with the inlaid stone that's there all over and the white marble everywhere. You couldn't take any photographs inside, but his tomb is in there and his wife's tomb is in there. And this is what it looks like. Over 9 million visitors a year come to see the Taj Mahal. It's the most visited spot in all of India. 9 million visitors. And the majority of them are Indians that come from India itself. And these are just a few that were getting ready for family portraits. So I was able to get photographs of them. And people love to get their pictures taken, I learned. So that was just a great experience. And here's Anna and myself in front of the Taj Mahal to prove that, yeah, we were really there. And here is a group shot of the Presidents Club with our guide on the right. His name is Him Singh, really intelligent person, speaks about 5 different languages and knows everybody and everything. And you'll see later, he got us into an actual Maharaja's palace, a current Maharaja's, and had some special entertainment. But here we are in India in front of the Taj Mahal, the group shot of the Presidents Club 2012. And here's Anne balancing the Taj Mahal on her fingertips. So I just couldn't leave there without getting a shot like that. So we leave that inner courtyard again. This is the outside. We're going out to the outer walls, and on the outer walls there's other inhabitants that swing around through the area. There's a lot of monkeys in India in a lot of these places. And so this is my token monkey shot that we got. So we go there. Oh, and by the way, too, there's some taxis out there waiting for us, but we didn't take this. We had one that was a little bit bigger than this one, but it wasn't much better. And we rode back to our hotel to have breakfast and then pack up and hit the road again. We only spent one night there, and now we're on the road once again, and this time we're heading for Jaipur. Now, when we're on the road, you notice here in this town, you got a person on the right, the bicycle rickshaw, you got a guy in the middle with horses and carrying stuff, you got a guy with a tractor there, and in the back you see the headlight of a car. Well, anything goes on those roads. And of course, here we are with the proverbial cow again, blocking the traffic. But you know what's interesting about this photograph? Look at the traffic. The guys going the opposite direction are coming over on our side. Sometimes if they don't want to go down and make a U-turn, they just come on the traffic coming towards you and just go for it. And nobody ever gets upset at anybody. They just go. So you got cows walking down the road, and we got to work our way around them. And then you got cars coming the opposite direction of where they're supposed to be coming down because they wanted a shortcut. And so it's pretty much mass confusion. But boy, it was exciting. And now you see many of the trucks on the road, you'll have people sitting up on the roofs, cruising down the highway 60 miles an hour, just sitting on top. I guess they don't have any seatbelt laws here. But you know what's interesting? At one of our rest stops, we saw a teeter-totter set. They have hand grips for the kids, and they have seat belts for the kids on the seesaw. They strap them in so they can play, but they don't worry about it on the cars or trucks. And this is one of the Hindu temples we saw along the way, dedicated to the monkey god. And now we reach Jaipur. This is one of the city gates for Jaipur. All these older cities all have different city gates, where a lot of the old part of the city is within these particular gates. And we reach the Rambagh Palace, is where our home is going to be for the next 3 nights, actually. But we had another surprise for us. Because we got there, instead of driving straight into the hotel, see, the hotel was like 5 acres big, or even larger. I mean, it was huge with all the grounds and all. So we park over on the side, and what's waiting for us? A special parade and transportation. We have the camels, and we have the elephants waiting for us. And so people start mounting up. So here is Jenny and her husband Harry from Bolivia, ready to go. In the background there you see Rosia with her daughter, who joined us from California, who won, by the way, the drawing. Remember the Presidents Club that you did, and the one person was going to have their name drawn and go on the trip? Well, Rosia won that, so congratulations to Rosia. So here we are, ready for a trip, but Ann hasn't mounted yet, and Ann's looking at this elephant kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to climb up that ladder or not. Is this going to be safe? But she made it, and away we went. Excuse me. So away we went, and on our way to check-in, to the registration. So here we are. Here's what I thought was interesting. Here we're getting ready to go in. Now, in front of us here is the Japanese. That's Koichi and Harumi Saito, who actually was on the Presidents Club with us on the first time in Africa. They also won it again. And we're on our way to register, but you know what's interesting I like is the drive slow sign. I mean, you're riding an elephant, man. how fast are you going to go? But you got to make sure you drive slow. Then you can see the hotel in the background as we go through the gates. And they had a whole welcoming committee with music and camels and it was dancers. It was just pretty incredible. And here is Jenny and Harry again, and you see Rosie in the background with her daughter. And back farther behind them is Enrico from Austria, who also won the trip. So we get off our elephants and we go in, and boy, is this neat or what? They throw rose petals at us, red rose petals as we go up. Besides, they gave us all leis with jasmine. So that was pretty neat. And then as you go to get our registration forms, you can see there at the registration and drinks, they made this design for us on the sidewalk that is marigold petals, rose petals, and yellow colored rice. So here's the inner courtyards of our hotel. As you go down the hallway, I want you to notice this hallway. Isn't that beautiful? This was actually a Maharaja's palace in the past, and now it's been converted into a 5-star hotel. But folks, this is not wallpaper. This is a painting. Every single thing on this wall is painted. The paintings, the designs, everything is painted. And this is our room, and it's all painted. And even the roof, the ceiling rather, has a chandelier. What a beautiful room that was, and it was a suite, and it was paid for. Now, later that afternoon, we got on the bus, and we went to see the world's largest sundial. Can you believe that's a sundial? And it's accurate to the minute. It is so accurate, it's unbelievable. This is our guide, him saying, showing us how accurate it is. It's actually more accurate than your watch because it tells you right in that exact spot what time it is. Where, remember, watches, we have different time zones, and they all say the same, but you know, it's a little bit of difference if you go east or west. It tells you exactly what time it is, and it's always right. From here, we went to Amber Fort, up in the mountains. And as we go on up higher to Amber Fort, it's beautiful. The architecture there, I wish I could show all of it to you, but there just isn't time. And then that evening, we went to way out of town, about an hour drive out into the countryside to do something very exciting. The elephants were waiting for us. And why were they waiting? Because we're going to play elephant polo. Here's Ann, and Ann actually made a goal. If you go to YouTube later on, you'll see her actually playing and making a goal on the elephant that we had it videotaped also, because she did it more than once. Now from here, the next morning, we went to Taj Mahal, and this is the most photographed, the most famous of all the monuments inside of Jaipur. This was made also, that you notice all the little windows and things. It was made so that the women, the harems, the women, were not allowed out in public a lot when there were special parades and ceremonies, so they could watch it from these windows. They didn't quite have women's lib then. Well, right across the street, I saw something else that was on my bucket list, and that was to photograph a cobra snake charmer. And there was one right there, and I was able to photograph him charming the snakes. Now, something really unique about this, and let me share it with you. I want to show you a picture that was in my screensaver. I had my screensaver for 1.5 years as I was working towards being able to go to India. I wanted to do that so bad and make that trip. And I visualized it. I had pictures in my house. I had them on the screensaver on my computer. I had them in my closets that I was going to go to India. And as many of you know, I had some health challenges the last year, but we still worked hard even during that. And I was able to go. And this is one of the photographs that inspired me to go. Now, this photograph was taken off the internet. I got it off the internet along with other pictures I took of India and looked at it for 1.5 years. Now, I want to show you the picture that I just showed you that I took of the snake charmer across from that building. Do those two people look familiar? Let me show you a close-up view of them. The one on the right is the one off the internet. The one on the left, you can tell it's sharper, is the one that I took. Now, let me ask you something. There is 1.2 billion people in India, and yet I was able to photograph the same snake charmer that I had found on the internet. And look at the background. It's just painted a different color. It's the same background, folks. And I was able to photograph him. And now it's actually illegal to do the snake charming in India. And so they kind of look out and they run from spot to spot. He was only there for about 15 minutes for the whole day. And I was there when he was there and got that photograph of him. To me, folks, it shows once again what visualization can do. What you think comes about if you believe it strong enough. And I was even lucky enough to be able to pet the cobra. Was that exciting? Ann wouldn't try that. Well, we move on. That night we had a special dress-up night that we all went out for dinner. And you can see we're now at the Maharaja's palace. It's the current Maharaja is about 13 years old. And his father takes care of the palace while he's at school. And the Merinda Bioactives was written in marigold petals, rose petals, and black and white rice. Can you imagine spelling that out so perfectly that they did for us? And there's our group. And that night we had music and we had dancing. And again, we have this on the YouTube. You can actually see those dancers dance. And then we also able to get our picture taken inside the smoking room, which is very rare. Because of the connections our guide had, we got us into places that people just don't go into. It's very, very private. And that whole floor, you see the sheets because it's all pillows. It's all padding. So people can sit there and smoke their water pipes and whatever else they want to do. It's called a smoking room. So here's Anna and myself enjoying our time at the Maharaja's palace. The next day we get up, we go to a gift store to look at some things, and there were 4 holy men there of the Hindu faith that were blessing the building. And notice the shirt again, the bioactivism with the Taj Mahal. So one thing I loved doing there was getting some of the close-ups of the faces that are there. Here's another holy man of a different sect of the Hindu. And you can see quite a bit of difference in how they dress and what they do. He's playing an accordion, actually. And this right here in the middle, you'll see is one of their 3 gods. And this is the one that has the evil eye. This is the one they pray to that can bring destruction and evil into the world, if I remember right. And then a little bit later on, you'll see, I'm going to show you something, because this is the one that can give you the evil eye and cause you some problems. And here's another holy man carrying some of his goods from the market home. This is one of my favorite people photos of the trip. These are street sweepers at one of the forts that we visited. I love this picture. You wonder what those 2 people are saying to that one lady that has her face covered. There's a lot of mystery to this picture, and the colors are just incredible. And here's a lady on the sidewalk selling all of her wares. She sweeps the dirt off with her bags, and so she can have her things for sale. And here's another fellow that was at the fort that we visited that's playing music and collecting money. But I just love this picture too. And he's playing that instrument really, really well. And here's another fellow that posed that wanted me to take his picture. And people love to have their pictures taken. And here's the flower stall and what I was able to do with that. And talk about color. This boy is going down the street selling balloons. So you have colors in the flowers, you have colors in the balloons, and I bought 2 balloons from him that I brought home with me. They were 10 cents each. And also coming down what you'll see as I go down a little bit farther is the goats on the car. I wonder what this guy is going to think when he comes back from work that day and he sees hoof prints all over his car. Well, probably that's what happened to this car, is this guy is pedaling his 3-wheel bicycle down the road with a car on there that's going somewhere. He's probably headed for this upholstery shop that I saw to see if he can get it fixed up. And we go back to the hotel, the Rambal Palace, and that night they had a carnival for us. And I'll show you, there's a video of some of the carnival in a tightrope walker that's on YouTube. And Ann had her hands painted. It takes 4 hours for it to set. You wash it off, and then it's brown. And it lasts for about 2 weeks. It's all gone now. And the next morning, they're all out there to say goodbye to us, the staff, and including the doorman. So I love these people. And we head out of town through one of the many gates once again, and now we're headed southwest, actually. And now instead of just seeing the elephants and all so much, we start seeing camels being used. In fact, right on the road, you got camels strolling down the road, blocking the traffic, and people trying to make their way around them. And there are, like I said, no seatbelt rules. I don't think there's any rules at all. As people are driving, if you can find a spot to hold on, you just hold on. And there you go. Now, our guide told us that people in India are very unique. They all have magnetic fingers. That way they can hold on to the roofs of the car and keep going. We're doing 60 miles an hour here, and people are hanging on and sitting on the roof. You can see the different views here. Now, you notice also the trucks, most all the trucks had horn please or honk your horn. They want you to honk your horn as you go around them because they don't pay much attention to the rearview mirrors. And so the horn honking there isn't because they're upset at somebody, it's to let people know that they're coming. And I got a lot of pictures of backs of cars. This is horn do, which means horn do honk. But you notice on this truck here on the left and the right, you've got the evil eye painted. And the trucks would put different decorations on their trucks to keep the evil eye away from them. And what this says, I asked the guide what this says, and he says, it says, if you give me the evil eye, I will paint your face black. So I'm not sure what that means, but that's what he's going to do, so don't give him the evil eye. This is the evil eye. This is another one of the temples I photographed with the evil eye guy. Don't make him mad. So we made it to the Devagar Fort Palace, our next stop, after 6 hours, and rose petals being thrown out again. And this is our hotel and the lobby and the stairways as we go up. Notice the elephant and the rat. And there was also a parakeet paradise. The parakeets were all wild, flying everywhere. This was our room, and notice the window on the left. I love the symmetrical feeling of this with the countryside out there, because we're out in the country now, just a little bitty village that we're at. And once we check in our room and get settled, we go out and we meet our camel drivers, because we are getting ready for an exciting trip through the countryside on our camels. These are our Japanese distributors once again getting ready to go out for the ride. This is Anna and myself with our camel. And those things get up, boy, it's pretty scary. You got to hang on. And this is the Chinese distributors, Feng Shuang Wang and his wife, and that's the wall of the fort behind us. And you can see as they're going out into the countryside on their ride for the day. And as we're going along, people come out and wave to us. They love to see us. And I love how our houses are decorated. And this lady was just great. She came out and waved to us and made just a great picture with the elephants and the people on her house. It is so beautiful. And everybody loves a parade, even if it's camels, so they're all out watching. And then we have all of our fruit vendors, one that has an abundant harvest and one that's not doing quite so well. So you wonder who's the most successful one here. We have the people washing their clothes in the lake and the people that have done washing and taken them home. Just great faces and great people. And then we went to visit the Nagda Temple, which is 1,000 years old. And here's Anna and I doing a little meditation there in front of the temple. And part of the inside, look at the incredible carving. This is all sandstone, so it's eroded something a little bit over the years. But look how beautiful the carvings are on here. And then that afternoon, we were able to visit a girls' school with hundreds of students there. And what happened is a whole truckload of supplies came in that Merinda donated and we gave out. It came from money that was allotted for our trip, and some things we didn't do, and we gave the money instead was used to give these girls backpacks, pencils, rulers, paper, other school supplies that they needed. They're trying to educate the girls there now to get them back closer into the 21st century. And it was just a great experience being there for a couple of hours and they danced for us. They fed us a little bit, and it was just a wonderful experience. Here's a younger group, and here we have the red marks on our forehead again. But it was just a great experience. It shows you that what Merinda does, even for the people that aren't in our business, just to try to do some good in the world, as Carrie has always said. And now we go back to our hotel, the Fort, and we head out once again, and here's the cows in the middle of the road just taking a little rest there, and the cars and trucks have to go around it. We're on the road. Now check this out. Here's a whole truckload of people on top of the truck. You see the little thing on the right with the kids in the back, but there they are heading down the road and just hanging on with those magnetic fingers. And I tell you, if there's some way to get something on the trucks, they'll find a way to do it. I'm not sure what was in here, but it was a pretty big load. And here's another one that we saw with quite the load. And then here's the one that wins. Talk about a load of stuff going down the highway. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't have given up driving down that highway for anything. And here's one fellow with the money in his hand waiting to get into the toll booth that they had. The traffic was pretty well backed up. And, you know, you're driving on the left side of the road there, so the steering wheel's on the right. And so he's just waiting for his turn there. But I love his mood. So now we're headed for our last city, Udaipur. Now, this is the city palace. We're not staying here. I'll show you that in a moment. But in the city palace, you notice the big doors there. And see the spikes? See, the elephant's been used for a long time in India, thousands of years for things, and even for war. And by having those spikes on the doors, when they close the doors, it stops them from using the elephants to bang their head against it and knock the doors down. So all your forts you would see would have those spikes on the doors. And we come close to where we're going to get on our boats to take us to the Taj Lake Palace. And once again, we have a reception committee. This video is also on YouTube with the flamethrower there. And so we're dancing, entertaining, and then we go out to the dock where we're going to catch our boat to take us over to our hotel. And these are the women dancers that greet us. Ann and I are on the boat. We got another red dot. And you can see the hotel in the background. It's on the lake. It's the Taj Lake Palace. It was a Maharaja summer home at one time because it would be cool there on the lake. Because actually, it was only about 96 degrees while we were there, but in the summer, it can be over 125 degrees with humidity. Can you imagine the heat? But being on the water, it kept it cooler. But now it's a 5-star hotel. This is also the hotel that was used in a James Bond movie called Octopussy. This hotel was used for that. And here's our greeter, the doorman, and here's the staff greeting us and giving us our room keys all ready to go. And this is the inside courtyard. The hotel goes clear up right to the water, as you see, but it's actually on an island of rocks. And they brought in dirt and so on, and it's just a beautiful courtyard. And this is, when you open our door to our room, this is the view that you see going out of our front door into the courtyard. And Ann and I heard this music playing, this flute player. We looked around, didn't see anything. I went up to the second level, and there's, instead of playing elevator music like a lot of hotels do, they have live entertainment. There's a fellow there playing his flute, and for quite a long time, and the music just kind of echoes throughout the hotel in the inner courtyard there. You can see the paintings on the wall again with this. It's all white marble, and then you have incredible paintings painted right on the white marble. Just beautiful, beautiful handiwork. This is our bedroom, and an incredible view out our bedroom, because there we are looking over to the city palace, and as the sun is starting to set and the city lights go on. So this was a view that we had. And in the morning, if you're up for it, you can get up and have a little bit of yoga, or you can have a special reservation for your own table there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And that afternoon, we took off in the little boat to go back into town. We came to the city palace, and it's incredible. Here's where the Maharaja would sit, his throne, at one time. It's the most unique throne I've ever seen. And the paintings on the walls that they have. And notice the elephant was very special to them, because even when they had to use horses, they made them look like elephants. So look at that. That's the warrior horse from hundreds of years ago that they would use in battle, because they figured having the trunk on there would scare the people or scare the other animals and not make the elephant think he's superior. So they put these on their horses. And here is the means of communication, carrier pigeons. And so maybe that's where the word courier came from that we use now. What carrier do you use? No, we say carrier. What carrier do you use for your phone? AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile. Well, they had carrier pigeons. Maybe that's where the word came from. This is what they would use for communication. And here is an actual view from the city palace of where we were staying. And our last day there, I went into another Hindu temple and photographed a lot of the holy men and the people that were in there. I want to just share these with you. You can just take a look as I skim through some of these. Notice the women here, that some of them would show their face, but they would all have their clothing on, and then some would use them to cover their face. I love this picture on the right. You can barely see her face with her baby asleep as she sits in front of her door. So some cover their face. They say they cover their face out of respect for their husband, so they won't be enticing to any other men. So, and here's some more of the holy men in this one particular temple, and even the woman that is there. And even the truck seems like it has a face. It has one eye, and the truck waiting in the alley. So we head back to our Taj Lake Palace for our final night, and we board a special yacht. This actually is the same boat that was used in the James Bond movie, except instead of the rowers like we had, it was all rowed by women. So I got to see that movie again. I've been trying to find it, Octopussy with James Bond. And so we went out for the evening and had our evening refreshments and meals, or the hors d'oeuvres, the appetizers, before we eat dinner that night. And we're on there and we're watching the sunset in the distance. And so as the sun sets for Ann and myself, we see another water palace that's sitting on an island. And this is actually where the person who built the Taj Mahal stayed for several months. And this is what gave him the inspiration to build the Taj Mahal, is this palace here. Beautiful architecture. And that, even to our surprise, as we were on the boat and we went past another structure, they had performers lined up for us to do the fire dance. And that pretty much was bringing the night to a close. And that, folks, was the end of the Morinda Presidents Club trip 2012. What an experience that we'll always remember. And I'm telling you, whatever it takes for you to be able to earn that next trip, do it. Everything is first class. There is no expense spared for what happened to us. We felt like Maharajas. More than just presidents of companies, we felt like Maharajas, like we were back in time for a lot of it. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And it's something that we'll cherish forever. And hopefully this has given you a little bit of an idea of what it would have been like to be there. Now, in closing, I want to share something with you. John Wadsworth has said, our president, our mission and passion is to transform lives. Join us as we change the world. Some of you that are already in this business, give it a new dedication. Those that are looking at our business, we are changing people's lives, and you're being rewarded at the same time to do it. From the company, from the people you share our business and our product with. And what I want to share with you in closing now is right now, would you like to earn an extra $1,000 before Christmas? Well, you can, because now we've made some changes in the growth and duplication bonus, and here's what it is. You enroll with the Business Builder Pack with Thrive, the Fit, or the D5. It's $299, and you get more than what you're actually paying for. Now, when you do this, you make your first presentation in 7 days. Presentation is the way we build our business and we share our products. That's what I've been doing for 16 years, just through presentations, either one-on-one or in a little meeting in somebody's home or wherever. Share it. Get people to make their first presentation within 7 days after they sign up. And now, when you enroll as a business builder, and you enroll 3 personally sponsored business builders on a business pack by the end of the next calendar month. So you have the month you sign up, and the next month, the company will pay you $500. What that means is usually you would have made $300 with the business packs for 3 people, but the company is adding $200 bonus to it. Now, for you that have already been in the business, that had signed up from October and before, you've been grandfathered in, that the clock started for you in October. Whether you ever bought a business pack or not, it doesn't matter. And so you have till the end of November to enroll the 3 business builders, and you'll receive a $500 bonus. This can only happen in the person's first 2 months. The month they sign up and the next month is the only time they can receive the silver bonus. Now, the other special thing now, that if you enroll them 6 people by the end of the next month, then you get $1,000. Okay? So a new person, if a person signed up right now, then they will have this month and next month to do that. For those already in the business, you only have till the end of November to do this. And from that point on, it's only for the brand new people. So why silver by the end of the next month? It's only available to the end of the month following your enrollment, and you earn $500 or more in commissions. So what do you do now? For the new person, you hold your first Morinda presentation within 7 days of sign up. You get those people to fill out their prospect sheet. You sign, you have a presentation. You get things happening. You take action. That's how I qualified for the trip twice now for the Presidents Club, is action. Don't sit around and wait for somebody else to do it. Get up and do it. And so you achieve silver bonus by the end of the next month, and you just do it, and you get the bonuses. So what do you do now? You repeat that. You repeat it again and again, and you help your new people repeat it. And so here it is right now. 6 business builders for the old timers by the end of this month. For the brand new people that signed up this month of November, then you have November, December, you get a $1,000 bonus. Now, wouldn't that be a great Christmas present? Well, this brings us to the end of our presentation. What I want to share with you is that if you go to YouTube, this presentation will be on YouTube starting tomorrow, and you go to YouTube and you put in Catch the Updraft. That is our site for all of our presentations. Now, some of the videos I mentioned, we have 7 videos that are already on there right now, that are already there. You can watch them tonight or tomorrow, whatever you want. And for some of you that want to be on my mailing list that aren't, if you just email me, floyd@holdman.com, I'll be glad to put you on our mailing list for future presentations and webinars that I will be doing. And I'm glad to do it. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our presentation tonight. And thanks for tuning in. And we have a great, great company. Talk to you soon.